Granny's other room. Then Arya was sent to live with her grandmother. For the summer, she thought it would be all cookies and bedtime stories. But Granny's house was strange, too quiet, too cold. And then there was the door at the end of the hallway. It was always locked, painted the same pale green as the walls. It almost blended in almost. Never open that door, Granny's warned, eyes sharper than usual. That's my room, the one for before. Arya didn't understand. Before what at night? She heard soft movements behind the door, footsteps, creaks, sometimes humming. Granny lived alone. Arya asked her about it once. Granny only smiled oddly. She gets restless sometimes. Curiosity clawed at Arya until she couldn't resist. One afternoon, while Granny napped, Arya stole the rusted key from under a loose floorboard she'd seen Granny use. She creeped to the door, heard pounding, and turned the key. The air behind the door was ice cold. The room was dimly lit by a flickering bulb, and everything was identical. Same wallpaper, same furniture, but it was frozen in time. Photos on the dresser showed young women, Granny but glowing, wild-eyed and dangerous. Beside her, a man with hollow eyes. In every photo, the man grew more twisted, more terrified. A large wardrobe stood in the corner, its door slightly ajar. Inside, something breathed. Arya backed away. The door slammed shut behind her. From the wardrobe, a hand reached out, long-fingered, too pale. And then a voice, low and bitter. "You opened the door. She said you would." The wardrobe burst open. Out stepped Granny, but younger. Her face was cracked porcelain, her mouth stitched into a smile, threads of shadow. "She kept me locked away," the other Granny hissed. "But now you have set me free." The lights went out. When Arya awoke, she was back in her bed. Granny hummed in the kitchen, making tea. Everything seemed normal, except the locked door was gone. And Granny's eyes, they were the wrong color. "He can't see me, but I'm here," Lena first noticed in a cafe window. She turned her head, but her reflection didn't. It only lasted a second, a glitch. A trick of light. That's what she told herself. But the next time, it smiled when she didn't. Every mirror, every surface that held her image. It was wrong. Sometimes slower, sometimes just off. She tested it, raised her left hand. Her reflection raised its right. She blinked once. It didn't blink at all. It watched. Lena stopped using mirror. She covered the bathroom one with a towel, turned her phone camera to face away. But the reflection didn't care. They found her way. In windows, in puddles, the dark computer screens. The reflection grew bolder. It mouthed words Lena didn't say. It moved behind her while she stood still. One night, while brushing her teeth, She caught her reflection staring, not at her, but past her. She turned. No one there. When she looked back, the mirror was empty. The reflection was gone. She didn't sleep that night. By morning, she had convinced herself she should gone a little stir crazy, stress, lack of sleep, until her boyfriend Mason walked into the kitchen and asked, "Why were you standing behind me last night?" She hadn't been. She had been locked in her room. Later that day, she checked her phone camera out of habit, and there she was, not her face. It's smiling. Eyes too wide, skin too smooth. It whispered from the screen, though no sound came. "He can't see me, but I'm here, and I'm almost ready." Lena threw the phone across the room, but on every screen after that, her laptop, the microwave door, even the stainless steel toaster, it stared back. Mason started acting distant, cooled, like he didn't recognize her anymore. She caught him smiling at the mirror once, whispering something. She asked what he said. His answer, "I wasn't talking to you." The Sky Lantern Mystery. Every year on the eve of the autumn festival, the villagers released sky lanterns into the night, sending their wishes into the heavens. 11-year-old me loved watching them drift over the lake, but this year something was different. One lantern didn't float away like the others. It hovered, waiting. May felt a strange pull in her chest. Without thinking, she followed it. The lantern drifted toward the forest at the village's edge, waving between trees as if leading her somewhere. The deeper she went, the quieter the world became. No wind, no crickets, just the soft glow of the lantern lighting her path. Then through the mist, she saw it, a hidden shrine, long forgotten and covered in ivy. At its center stood a small stone altar, and upon it rested something delicate, an old yellowed letter. Me hesitated before picking it up. The moment her fingers touched the paper, a warm breeze stirred the breeze, as if the forest itself had sighed. The letter was addressed to Lynn, her grandmother's name. Heart pounding, me carefully unfolded. "My dearest Lynn," the letter began, "though time separates us, my heart never forgets. One day, I hope you will find this and know the truth. I never left by choice. I was taken far away, but I never stopped thinking of you. If you ever wonder if I loved you, know that I always have." Tears blurred Me's vision. She recognized the handwriting. It was her grand-uncle Joe's, the brother her grandmother had lost when they were children. For years, no one knew what happened to him. Some said he had run away, others whispered of kidnappers. But no one ever found the truth. Until now, the lantern flickered, its glow soft and warm. Me understood. This was Yo's wish, carried by the festival's magic. Finally finding its way home, clutching the letter, Me turned and ran back to the village. The night she placed the letter in her grandmother's hands, Lynn's eyes filled with tears. and she traced the familiar handwriting. She looked at me with a trembling smile. "You found him," she whispered. Outside, the last of the sky lanterns faded into the vanishing path. Every evening, as the sun bled gold and crimson across the sky, the path appeared, a narrow, winding trail through the heart of blackthorn woods. No one knew where it truly led, only that those who took it never returned the same. Mara first heard of the path from old Silas, the village storyteller. "It grants you something," he had whispered. "But it takes something too." One evening, driven by the curiosity, Mara stood at the forest's edge. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the path shimmered into existence. Bathed in a strange twilight glow, she stepped forward. The moment her feet touched the path, a hush fell over the woods. No wind, no resulting leaves, just silence. She walked on, the golden light guiding her deeper. Shapes moved at the edges of her vision, shadows twisting unnaturally, figures darting between trees. Then the whispering began. "What do you seek?" Mara's breath caught. She hadn't spoken, yet the question rattled in her bones. I don't know," she admitted. The path wound tighter, the trees pressing in. The whispering continued, growing urgent. "Every traveler leaves something behind." A memory flickered, her mother's lullaby. It slipped from her mind like mist, vanishing before she could grasp it. Panic surged in her chest. What was the tune, the words? "A fair price," the whispers cooed. Mara broke into a run, desperate to escape, but the path stretched endlessly. Then, ahead a glow, a clearing. She burst through the trees and stumbled into her village. But something was wrong. Her home was the same, the streets unchanged. Yet, when she greeted the baker, he frowned. When she called her to friend, "Elric," he hesitated. Mara? His voice was very. I feel I like you. I know you, but her heart pounded. The whisper had taken something more than a song. She rushed home, but when her mother opened the door, her eyes filled with confusion. "Can I help you?" Mara staggered back. She had returned, but she was no longer remembered. The path had granted a journey, but it had taken her place in the world. And as she turned back toward Blackthorn Woods, she knew there was only one thing left to do. At sunset, she would walk the vanished path again. He was walking home from school, his bag heavy on his back. When he caught something odd out of the corner of his eyes, his shadow. It wasn't quite right. The sun was behind him, so his shadows should have stretched forward. But instead, it moved sideways, shifting unnaturally as if it had a mind of its own. He stopped. His shadow didn't. He took one more step before realizing he wasn't moving, then snapped back into place. Ravi's heart pounded. Maybe he was imagining things. Maybe it was just the wind, or a trick of the light. But then the shadow twitched again. This time it waved. Ravi ran. He sprinted down the street, not daring to look back. Bursting into his house and slamming the doors shut, his breath came in gasps as he pressed his back against the wooden surface. Slowly, he glanced down. His shadow was beneath him, perfectly normal. Had he imagined it? Shaking his head, Ravi went about his evening, pushing the thought aside. But that night, as he lay in bed, he saw it again. The dim glow of the street lamp outside cast a faint shadow of him onto the wall. At first, it was still, but then it moved. Ravi froze. The shadow lifted its hand and pointed toward the window. A chill crawled down his spine. "What do you want?" he whispered. The shadow pointed again. This time, the message was clear. "Follow me," against every ounce of logic. Screaming to him to hide under the blanket, Ravi climbed out of bed. The moment his feet touched the floor, his shadow slithered forward, gliding ahead of him. It led him to the window. Outside, the street was bathed in pale moonlight. Eerily quiet, the shadow waited expectant. Ravi hesitated, then opened the window and climbed down the ledge. As soon as he touched the ground, the shadow darted ahead. It moved faster than a normal shadow should, stretching unnaturally around corners and slipping through gaps where no light touched. It led him to an abandoned house. At the edge of town, Ravi's stomach twisted with unease. He had always avoided this place. It was rumored to be haunted. His shadow slid under the door. Ravi swallowed hard. Then with trembling fingers, he pushed the door open and stepped inside. The air was heavy, thick with dust and something else, something ancient. And then he saw them. Shadows, dozens of them, but there was no people, only the shadows. Standing, shifting, watching. His own shadow moved forward, blending into them, becoming one of them. A whisper filled the air, like voices speaking from the walls. "You are one of us now!" Ravi turned to run. The door was gone, and then he realized he no longer had a shadow.